Catherine, bring us down to earth, and I mean that almost literally. Take us to Lowndes County in Alabama, where you've done so much of your work.
Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. I'm a native of Lowndes County, Alabama. Lowndes County is the area where most of the Selma to Montgomery March Trail goes through. One of the largest slave trading ports in the United States came in through Montgomery. People in Lowndes County, we are largely descendants of those slaves that were brought in to work the soil. What I see in Lowndes County are a lot of hardworking people who are struggling every day to make ends meet. The wastewater situation, the raw sewage on the ground, when we found evidence of hookworm, which is a tropical parasite that's associated with poverty in Alabama. This is in plain sight. A lot of these people haven't been out of these ivory towers to actually go into these communities and see how people are living. I was called to a site, and I went out back with them to see the pit where the raw sewage was. It was in October, and it was teeming with mosquitoes. I was bitten. I had on a dress, and I had all these bites, and I didn't think anything of it until afterwards. My body broke out in a rash. Then I went to my doctor and I said, look, I was bitten by these mosquitoes. She did the blood test. They sent my blood in. Everything came back normal. And I asked her, is it possible that I could have something that American doctors are not even testing for? Could it be that we have so many warm days that things that normally wouldn't live this long are living and thriving in this kind of environment? And that's how the connection was made. Where there's a woman who has 2 children, ages 9 and 16. One child is sleeping with a CPAP machine because she has sleep apnea. The home is a single-wide mobile home that's full of mold and mildew. She got the mobile home in the late 1980s. The cost of it was about $127,000. She still owes $20,000 on it and is worth $2,000. That's an example of the type of structural poverty that exists. And recently I was talking to her and her sister about the wastewater situation, because when she flushes her toilet, the raw sewage is straight piped out onto the ground just outside the back of her mobile home.
Yes, I've been telling my story. I've been to Washington, D.C. and talked to the Congress and stuff like that. I'm poor. I don't have nothing. I try to take care of my 2 kids. And the Catherine is an angel to me too. She tried to help everybody, in Lowndes County and around the world. She tried to help you. I think most of the rain now is probably coming out of the trees. But I love this area. It's very peaceful, and I believe that somewhere in these soils are some of my people. I don't know who they are, but I believe they're in these soils, and that's what keeps bringing me back here. When they settled the area, they wanted to come here because it was good for farming. It was the soils that were responsible for people bringing slaves. I'm a descendant of people that came by way of the slave ship, and a lot of people, their blood is in these soils. People are being threatened with arrest because of the soils, because the soils hold water, the same soils that were used to bring people here, and now the soil can't treat wastewater. I left to get an education. I left to get experience beyond Lowndes County, because had I stayed in Lowndes County, for people that are in that area that see that all the time, think it's normal, but it's not normal, and it certainly shouldn't be normal in the U.S. Today I do this work standing on the shoulders of my parents. My parents were like the jailhouse lawyers of their communities. Also, my family was very, very involved in the civil rights movement. And because my parents being who they were, and because our blood has been spilled here on this soil, and because if you go to just about any graveyard around here, you're going to find my relatives. So they don't understand that, and especially people that have not grown up in rural communities.
So for those people that can't understand my passion for Lowndes County and why I do what I do, is they only have to come here. That no matter what I do or where I go, I have to go back to where I'm from, and this is where I'm from. And maybe that's why I keep coming back. You know, I think that's very important now in light of the fact that we're talking about immigration. And people tend to think that the fabric of this country only contains the souls of certain people, when it contains the souls of people from around the world. You know, and for us to deny that, deny who we really are as a people. And what I try to do is pass it on and nurture other young people. And I'm hoping that if I retire from this, doing what I'm doing as an activist on the ground, I'm going to continue to work with young people. This morning I'm meeting with the summer interns from the Equal Justice Initiative. They're very interested in learning about environmental justice and the work that I do. And we're starting with the Lowndes County Interpretive Center. I'm very, very committed to finishing what I've started as it relates to raising the issues of rural infrastructure and the fact that a lot of these communities have been left out. And I feel that we have to be embedded in the community. And if you take nothing else from this, whatever you decide to do with your future, if you go into a community to work, stay in the community, spend time in the community. Classic third world conditions in the richest country in the world, it makes absolutely no sense. I can tell that I'm making a positive impact based on the people that have come to help. You know, this has been a long fight, but I'm getting attention from people who were not paying attention before, globally, even locally. Ellen can tell you, because she was with me in Washington. You know, I don't move around like the average 60-year-old. My daughter tells me all the time, Mama, you're as old as some of my friends' grandparents, but you don't look like it and you don't act like it. I said, well, because I have to keep moving. You know, I can't slow down.
Well, I would follow her literally into a burning building. I'd like to do a selfie.
Oh, okay, cool.
Da-da. What did she say on her shirt there?
Oh, my grandson?
Yeah.
Something about Grandma rock or something.
Grandma does rock.
People of goodwill are coming together for the purpose of trying to make sure that we protect what God has given us. And I think, to me, that's indicative of making progress. When I felt like I was losing who I was, I would always come in something about me driving on 80, especially near the end of the day when the sun is setting. And I can see the sun setting in the west. And there's a place in Lounsborough where it's just beautiful when you're on the hills and you're looking out over the horizon and seeing that landscape. That's who I am, you know, and it's so important to keeping me grounded and balanced as a person. I'm an environmentalist because you cannot talk about the environment and not talk about health. You can't talk about the environment and not talk about how we treat nature. So part of environmental science is knowing about wastewater and how you treat it and how it impacts the environment, how it impacts the water bodies. All of that, I think, is connected. And that's why I'm an environmentalist. I've always been an environmentalist. Some people think you're only an environmentalist if you care about polar bears. But if you care about people and you care about land and you care about, you know, God's creation, you're an environmentalist. And I'm very, very interested in what we do for 7 generations to come in terms of leaving a perfect place for our children to live.